was supposed to be 30 days, but this is day 21st, and on day 22nd, which is tomorrow, I am flying back to London. Yes, I do wish that things went better. What I find the situation to be is that instead of my mom having troubles with her diabetes just because she couldn't keep on track of a dietary guideline, actually was the tip of the iceberg. Her hoarding issue has become much more prominent in the last few years because, in a way, it's always been normal to me. It took me a very long time to understand that she needed help, and I just realized that during these last 21 days. Unfortunately, starting to empty a hoarder's house without the presence and help of a psychological support, a professional psychological support, it's not something that I would advise anyone to do. I did that, and as much as I'm glad of what I did so far, I probably did some damage that could have been avoided had a psychologist been there. So at the moment, everything is being put on hold, and in a few weeks I'll come back and things will start sort of again in a different way, in a different take. During these 21 days, I had the chance to face my mother with the issues that she's been harboring and denying for a very, very long time. But hopefully, from what I've heard yesterday and today, she's starting to accept the fact that nobody is here to judge her or say that she's living in a wrong way or anything like that, but everybody is here to help because help can be provided for this kind of thing. The problem is you need to admit that it's an issue. So she's starting to accept the idea to be helped by the services of social services, and that's a very good thing. She started to take the medicines that she got prescribed after the psychiatric evaluation. She's going to do some proper specialistic visits with doctors so that we can tackle the issue, and she accepted help, which I hope it lasts. My mother, the most common thing at the moment is that she was having episodes. But the last couple of days at least, because she also started to take the medicines, it seems like she's generally sadder but herself, and she can remember anything and everything, which is the most important thing at the moment. There is a part of me thinking that not finishing the 30 days as I planned is sort of a failure. Alas, it is in a way. I feel like it is in a way, but at the same time, again, I had no idea what I was coming to handle or fight, so I hope that, all things considered, I started at least a journey that will take time, but hopefully will be doable and will allow me to help my mom live in the best possible life for as long as she possibly can. I did this series of videos because when I started I thought that it had been such a hard thing for me to accept and to admit and to talk about, because again, having been a tendency that my mother has always had, hoarding, she also made a point for my whole life not to talk about it. So there was some sort of involuntary, I'm sure, but emotional blackmail, whereas the issue wasn't what she was doing, but was the fact that I was talking about what she was doing, so I couldn't talk about it. And for a very, very long time, in the last couple of years, I started to admit to people that are really close to me, yeah, I think what my mother has as an issue, it's actually hoarding. But before that, that was something that I couldn't admit, even though having people around our house come and visit has always been an issue, even when I was a child. And if I have to be honest, the reason for me to move out when I was 16 is probably also due to the fact that I could handle and manage my own room the way that I wanted, but the rest of the house started to pile up around me, and that was something that I am naturally not inclined to do. To make you understand how this kind of thing can creep on you, especially if you're the son or the daughter or someone very close to a hoarder, and something doesn't feel quite right, but also doesn't feel so completely wrong because it's all you know. I'll give you my example, which is something again that I've realized in the last 20 days, which over a lifetime of 33 years, it's a stupid short amount of time. I had lived with my mother, literally, we were living in the same room up until I was 12, because I was living with my maternal grandparents as well. And I didn't get my own room until I was 12 and my grandmother died, so it was 1995. When my grandmother died, I took over my grandparents' room and we bought a new room and furniture for me. And that came with a wardrobe, amongst other things, and I started to have my mania for neat things on shelves and neat things on the wardrobe and all of that. There's only one thing that I didn't realize before, funnily enough, that before that time, when I had my own room and my own furniture then, I was never taught what a wardrobe is for. I never had a wardrobe before I turned 12. We had clothes left on the armchairs, on the chairs, on the drying rack, but there was no assigned place for clothes, and it was like that for 12 years, and that was normality for me. So up until 20 days ago, this never hit me. And the wardrobes were in the house, but they were all filled with sheets, towels, stuff that was sort of saved up but never used, and that was normality to me. Until 3 weeks ago, I didn't realize that that was an issue. I knew that it was not quite right, but every time that I was told that I was exaggerating, I believed my mother, because she's my mother. So she taught me about honesty and responsibilities and taking and owning your responsibilities. So it never occurred to me that she might have had a problem she didn't want to own up to, and she wanted to blame on anything and everybody else. And of course this was the case, because again, if you can own up to everything you choose to do, there would be no problem about talking about anything. There would be no problem about having to lie about anything, because the moment you decide and you go for a choice, you own up to it. I actually made an entire video about talking about how I own up to everything, and I don't even conceive the possibility of doing anything else, because it comes from her to me. But she didn't do it herself, so I wasn't prepared to this kind of disassociation in a way. But what I hoped to do with these kind of vlogs was to possibly give an insight to anyone that is in a situation similar to mine, because believe me, what you see in reality shows and documentaries about hoarders like Buried Alive and stuff like that doesn't even come close. That makes you think that once you get started, you spend one day and you sort out everything from beginning to end. That's absolutely not the case. It is something that can be tackled, but it requires a lot of work. It requires the presence of a professional. It requires time, and it requires a work to be done with the hoarder, because you can't sort their house for them. If you sort their house for them, they're just going to fall into it again the moment that you leave them to their own. So there is a change, there is an understanding that needs to be done with the person that will have to keep the problem from repeating itself. We're not out of it, but I want to believe from the last that I've seen that since last week, my mom has accepted the possibility that this is an issue, and it's not like everybody else is exaggerating, starting from me, of course, but maybe this is an issue. But again, this can be solved, so hopefully that's where we're going. At the moment, I have to go back to London anyway, because again, there was a very strong episode that happened between Thursday and Friday. We ended up a couple of times at the A&E, and I wasn't ready to make any more damage, even on the short term, to my mother and be the cause of it, to be honest. And again, I wanted the help of a professional, which will come in time, but it's not something that happens from a day to the other. And at the same time, I have my life, love and work in London, and I have a very, very important meeting happening on Monday, so I have to go back to London anyway. I was supposed to be here for the 17th, which was my mom's and my birthday, but hopefully I'll be here next month, so on the 17th of March. We will celebrate together a month later, so she'll celebrate 70 years and 1 month, and same goes for me, hopefully. And another thing that I urge you to do, this is one of those situations that I understood really proves that humans are a gregarious being. There are certain things that we can't do and manage on our own, and usually I am the most self-sufficient person on earth, but without people being there for me and telling me it's alright, I would have gone mad myself in these last 21 days. So I urge you to, even if you feel like you're better on your own and all that kind of thing, well, believe me, when things turn really, really bad, you will need someone that you trust, that you can trust, just to feel that it's not like the world is crumbling around you, even if it feels like that, because it really felt like that to me, and at times still does. But thankfully I have had amazing people that could endure me literally at my worst, because I couldn't even function properly for myself. They endured everything, and they fought for me and with me, and hopefully will still fight again once I'm back to help my mom sort herself out. So before I close this 21 days of Italian vlog instead of 30, I need to thank everyone that actually helped me get to these 21 days, because at different moments, at different points, every other day, sometimes the thought crept in me telling me, you can't do this, you're not up to it, what made you think that you can do something like this and revolutionize a life? The life of a 70-year-old Italian woman coming from a 600 people village. Viola has been a godsend again. She's been the only person that I know in Alessandria that was there from day one for me, and we had never even met before. We have been talking to each other, but we had never even met, and she was even in the middle of a move herself, and yet she was always there for me. And every time that I needed something, and I even just needed to disconnect and talk, she was there, and I talked her ear off. And in a way I feel sorry, because I know that it's a sort of a professional deformation for her, because she's a psychologist and she's really good, but I can only imagine what it was to endure me in that state. But she did, and that is love. That is love. That is what love is. Lorenzo is family by now. He's seen me in the last 14 years in all the ups and all the worst downs that I've had. Every time that something bad happened, that my life changed, that I was heartbroken, at the end I would find myself in this room. This was always my safe place in that sense, and knowing that there's someone that I'm that close to, that I can always count on, that is family. And the same goes for his parents, because they've been absolutely supportive and helped me so much, even thinking about what to do, because it's not obvious when you find out. I have no idea how bureaucratic things work here in Italy, so I couldn't have done half of the things that I've done without them. Alfredo, of course, which was such a strength to me, trying to, give me hope and try to keep positive even when all I had was really anger. Elisa and Francesco, because they have been the best kind of friends possible. I was supposed to do a couple of gatherings while I was here in Italy with you people who watch my YouTube videos from Italy, but alas, that couldn't happen because so many unexpected things came. And even in that situation, they just took a train, took the car, and came here to Milan the day after the big bomb exploded with my mom, just to give me a smile and to make sure that I was distracted for a while. There's Paolo, my very dear friend and former colleague, who has been so incredibly lovely. We hadn't seen each other in like 9 years since I was actually working here in Milan, and he's been incredibly lovely and nice, and has supported me and listened to me to the point that I must have talked his ear off as well. But he's been there for me. He put me in touch with amazing people that will possibly help my mom, because he worked on a documentary about Hoarders as well. So I've had the luck of having amazing people supporting me through this. And on top of everything, of course, there's the incredible patience and support that coming from Robin, my boyfriend, who's been up in London. He was taking care of Whiska, my cat, and he was supposed to join me this week, but again, a lot of unexpected things happened. But he'll definitely come with me next time that we come to Italy, because he's never been to Italy, and I find it so sad in a way, and I want him to see where I come from in a way, because whether I like it or not, this place molded who I am. There is a certain kind of background culture that made me develop into who I am up until I was 12, 14. That is just something unimaginable for someone who hasn't lived in Italy in the late 80s and early 90s. So I really want to share that part of me with him. I really want to hope that my mom will be with me and with us for the longest time possible, in the best shape possible, and I will do everything that I can to make that happen. But if you are in a situation like me, the first thing you need to remember is you can't do this on your own. So go seek help, the proper help, and that will make not only things easier, but much more likely for them to happen. So until I'm back, that was pretty much it, and I will keep you posted then once I'm back in Italy. Thanks so much for keeping me company through this journey. Again, I couldn't have done this alone, and knowing there were people caring about me every single day meant a lot, gave me the strength that I needed to find energy every single day to do and face things that I had no idea were even there, let alone ever find the strength to fight against. But hopefully, one step at a time, we're on the way. One step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time.